Hey everybody, this is my first YouTube video, so I figured I'd keep it, sort of short and sweet and to the point. So this is what we're going to be building. As you can see, it's pretty simple. It's just kind of another way to do sidebars in Next 13 with the app router. You do occasionally will run into some issues if you're using if you're using state or you're using onClick and your client components on being able to persist that state. So as you can see here, actually, when I refresh, because I am using this other method, this does stay set to the active state when I refresh, so the state doesn't clear. That would be something that's just a little bit more challenging to do. If you're using the traditional way of doing things. So, and I'll show you real quick how I was able to do it. Just using this hook from NextJS. Pretty simple stuff. useSelectedLayoutSegment. Basically, what it does is it returns the URL segment, and based on that, we can tell our client component. We can tell our client component exactly what needs to be set to active. So, it's a different way of doing things, and it's a nice introduction, I think, into a hook that you might find useful and valuable in other areas of your development. So, yeah, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into VS Code. As you can see, it's just a standard NextJS boilerplate application. I have it running over here on port 3001. So it's really, there's really not much to it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to hop back into here, and we're not really going to worry about this page right here, because honestly, in the real world, this would probably be your landing page, or this is where you would, go to, this is where basically where users would sign in. So we're just not going to worry about this. We're going to start off going in here into the app directory. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it dashboard. So as we know by now, and if you don't know, it's fine, but this replaces the pages directory. So whatever we name these folders, that's going to be determine the URL path for the page. And we're going to go ahead and create the page.tsx. I am using Typescript. I'm also using Tailwind. When you do, the npx create next app at latest, it'll walk you through all those questions. So I am using TypeScript, I am using Tailwind, and I am also going to be using React Hero icons. I will link that also in the description. It's not necessary, but it is. Those are what we are going to be using. So let me pull up what I have over here. So this is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to do TSRAFCE. We are not using any props, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. We also don't need the import React at the top, so it's pretty bare bones, pretty simple. And let's just go ahead and make sure that we did everything correctly and that renders out. All right, and we can see that does work. And one thing that I guess I am going to do here is we're going to go into the globals.css where it's body. Let's just get rid of all this. And let's just put background color white. Save that and see that should get rid of this. And there we go. We are good to go. So let's go into here and let's actually build out what this is going to look like. So let's get rid of that. Let's start in these top level div and give them some class names. Again, I am using Tailwind, so we want a BG white, padding X 6, padding Y of 24. On small, we want padding Y 32. LG, we want padding X of 8. H screen, and LG padding L 72. This is just going to help make sure that everything in this is contained and it won't run underneath the sidebar there. And then inside of here, we're going to have another div, of course, and we're going to give it, it's going to have some classes. First is going to be margin X of auto. We want the max dash width to be 2XL. And we want text to be center. And then finally, we want an H2 here. And again, you know, this is Tailwind's resets all this stuff anyway. So, I mean, an H2 is just going to appear like normal text. This is just more for semantics. So, you know, it's just better in DevTools. It's better on screen readers, and that, you know, we're able to differentiate different areas of the website. This is going to also have some classes. So we want margin top 2. We want text 4XL. Font should be bold. We want tracking to be light. We want text gray, not Gary, gray 900, and on medium and up, we want the text to be 6XL. And here we're just going to put dashboard / since this is the root. You know, you could get this dynamically, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to be hard coding these in. I don't think it makes too much of a difference in the end, but like I said, you could get this dynamically. And let's go ahead and see how that looks. And great. So we have this. Let's go ahead and get our other one set up. So basically what we're going to do, we're just going to create a new folder. And we want this one to be, what is this one? Analytics. So we'll go with new folder. Again, this needs to be inside the dashboard because this is going to be a new route. So this will be /dashboard/analytics. And we're going to create a new file in here. And once again, we're going to go page.tsx. And again, if you're new to Next 13, these have to be named page.tsx. Otherwise, it will not work. So this is a naming convention that is required by Next.js. And what we're going to do is we're just simply going to copy this and paste it into analytics. And we're going to replace dashboard slash with dashboard slash analytics. Hit save. And let's just go ahead and make sure that that one's working. I always like to make sure before I get too far into the weeds that everything is working. It makes debugging a little bit simpler and all that, which that does work. Perfect. So I guess now we can assume that the next ones are going to work. So let's just go ahead and get on into it. Let's do new folder. We want notifications. And by now you know the drill. Page.tsx. Gonna paste. So dashboard slash, we want dashboard slash notifications. Again, if you're feeling really wild, you can get that dynamically. For the sake of this tutorial though, we're just hard coding it. And then the last one we're gonna do is messages. messages and page dot tsx. We're going to paste that, and we're going to do messages. Yeah, that's fine. Lowercase, whatever. Doesn't really matter. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and check those out. So we added notifications. Only reason these wouldn't work is if I spelled something wrong. Notifications, great, and messages. All right, looks good. So let's go ahead and move on. And so now let's just go ahead. Actually, let's just go back to dashboard slash, just so we're on the root here. And let's add our layout. So again, this has to be named layout. So we're in the dashboard directory. We're not in analytics. We're not messages. We're not notifications. We're in dashboard, the root. And we're going to create a new file. It has to be called layout.tsx. Enter. And what this is going to do, this is going to apply whatever layout we have in here across all of our different routes in the dashboard directory. So we want TSRAFCE, and this is going to be a very simple layout. We are going to need props here. We do not need this, but we do need to import React Node. Actually, let me just get rid of this. Import React Node. There we go. I always like to have the autocomplete. And children is going to be of type React Node. Awesome possum. All right. So we got that. Like I said, this is going to be very simple. This top level div is going to have a class name of flex mx-auto and w-full. We're going to have another div inside of here. Actually, I'm not sure if this div is necessary. We'll just go ahead and put it in for the time being. And for now, this is where our sidebar client component is going to go. Let's just render out some text saying like sidebar. We'll see how that works. And then main, again, this is really more for semantic HTML. We got our class name here, and this is just going to be a width of full. Inside of here, we want to render out props dot children, and we save that. So what we need to do is now, since this is going to be a client component, we need to move outside of the dashboard. We need to move outside of app and into just the source. So make sure you're in the source here. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it components. And this is going to be where all of our client components are going to live. For us, we're just going to have one, and it's going to be sidebar.tsx. Great. So next, what we want to do, first thing, before we forget, is we want to mark this as a use client component. So this basically just tells Next.js that this is going to be a client component. This is not a server component because by default, all React components are server components. So we do need to use this use client. We do need to declare that at the top of the file. We're going to start off, we're going to do our TSRAFCE, and we we don't have props, so let's get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. Awesome, great. Now let's go ahead and just, before we build this out, let's just add it into our layout. Let me close some of these up here since we are done with them, make things a little bit cleaner. In our sidebar, we're just going to render out sidebar, import it from components, and boom. All right, so now we still should see that here. Nothing should really change. As expected, that doesn't change. Great. So let's close out of the layout and let's get to work in here. So first thing, I'm just going to delete this. And actually what we're going to do first is we're going to declare some functions up here outside of, or a function up here outside of the actual component. So we're going to do function. And this function is going to be called class names. And what this is going to allow us to do, first I'll stop talking. It's going to take in classes, which is going to be an array of string. Array of strings. And basically all that we're going to do is we're going to return classes dot filter boolean dot join and then a space. Now basically what this is going to allow us to do is, you'll see, is just a better way of doing dynamic classes in Tailwind. It is not the only way by any means to do dynamic classes, but it is probably one of the more preferred ways. Obviously, there are different ways of doing it, but this is going to be our way. So with that done, we're going to also import a few icons that I mentioned. Again, these are from Hero Icons. So I've already installed it. So it's just npm install at Hero Icons /React. I'll again link that into the description. And we're going to want the envelope icon from at Hero Icons React. Red, that's fine. Now we should bell icon. Wonder why these aren't auto completing. Chart bar icon and home icon. Let me make sure really quick that I do have this installed, that there's no issues with it. Yeah, we do have it installed, so it should actually work. I don't know why the auto completing wasn't working. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way it is. And then we're also going to import the hook that I mentioned previously, and that is just import useSelectedLayoutSegment. And again, that was autocomplete wasn't working, so we're just going to go from next/navigation. Great. That looks good. Okay. Next, we're going to come down in here and let's just go ahead. Let's start building out our nav bar first. What we need to do is we need to define what our sidebar options are going to be. So like dashboard, analytics, notifications, and then we're going to map over those, and that's going to be what how we build our navigation. So we want const sidebar options, and that is going to be equal to an array of objects. Each object is going to have a name. The first one is going to be dashboard. It's going to have an href, which is going to be just /dashboard. It's also going to have an icon, and that icon is going to be the home icon. Let's try this. /24 /outline. There we go. Okay. See, that's what happens when you don't have autocomplete. Autocomplete's not working. You mess something up. That's why I do like autocomplete. So we want the home icon. And then we'll come back to, actually, yeah, let's just do current. So this is going to be the state. And for now, we're just going to set hard code this one to true. Later, as you'll see, it will be dynamic. Whoops. Come back over here. Actually, just let me copy these down twice more. Great. The next one is going to be analytics. Dashboard / analytics. And the icon is going to be chart bar icon. So, I mean, for your application, obviously, these are probably going to be different. You're going to want these to be whatever it is that you are building. And it's very simple to change. I mean, as you can see, it's just really drag and drop pretty much. Next one is notifications. And for this one, we want the bell icon. Great. And actually, these other ones we don't want to be true. We want these to be false. Otherwise, that would look really weird. Again, these are all going to be changed when we get into the use segment. Last one is messages /dashboard /messages. And this one is going to be envelope icon. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Again, false. Okay, so those are our options. Right now they don't do anything because we haven't built out the component. So let's go ahead and do that next. So this top level div, it's going to have a single class name of padding 3. This is probably where your mobile drop down will go anyways. So we want hidden, LG fixed, LG inset -y-0, LG flex, LG width 72, LG flex -column. Great. Move on in, next div. And it's going to have some class names as well, of course. Let me just see how this looks real quick. All right. Little small. There we go. Oh, it didn't update. Okay. Perfect. So that's coming together nicely. Let's build out the navigation. So start off with the nav tag. And this nav tag is going to have a class name. Flex, flex1, and flex call. Inside the nav, we're going to have a UL. And it's going to have a role of list. And it is also going to have some class names. It's going to have flex, flex1, flex call, and gap y of 7. Cool. All right. Inside the UL, we are of course going to have some LIs. And what else to put inside of an LI but another UL? This UL is also going to have a role of list and class name of -mx-2 and space y of 1. And this is going to be where we map over our sidebar options. So to do that, we need to open up our curly braces. And I always like to just start up here. We want sidebar options, dot map. And for each option, we are going to do the following. And this is going to be where you see this come into play up here. We want to return an li. I hate when that does that. Li. There we go. Okay. Now, because we are mapping, we do need to have a key here. And the key is just going to be the option.name. It has to be unique. So if for some reason you have something up here where the name is, if you have dashboard twice, that's not going to work. I mean, it will work. It'll just give you errors, but it would be really weird for you to do that anyways. So I'm not judging, but don't do that. Great. So inside this li here, we're going to have a link. You guessed it, from we want from, is that going to be, does that import? Let's do there we go. Next link. Great. That imported, yeah? Yes. Okay. It's only like that because I think we've left off the href. Not for long though. We want to set the href equal to option dot href. And then for the class names. So this is where things are going to be a little bit different. Because we are calling a function here, we need our curly braces. And we are calling class names. And we want if option dot current. So that's this value up here. If that is true, then we want the background to be of gray 700, and we want the text to be white. If it is not true, then we want the text, oops, sorry, this needs to be in quotations here. We want the text to be gray dash 400. We want hover text to be white, hover BG gray 700. Comma here. So this is going to be after this comma. This is everything. So that applies regardless. So if option.current, then we want this, else we want this. And these are classes that should apply regardless. So otherwise we'd have to write these classes twice on both of these, and this just saves us the time. So we want group, we want flex, we want gap x of 3, we want rounded medium, and we want padding 2, text dash sm. This is a long one. We want leading P6. And last one, we want font to be semi-bold. Great. So yeah, again, just to kind of reiterate, because this might be new syntax for you, depending. Again, you should be able to use this with just normal CSS. I mean, it is a custom function that we wrote, so you shouldn't have any issues there. But just to reiterate, these are the classes that will apply if it is true. These are the classes that will apply if it is false. And these are the classes that will apply regardless. So these are basically the defaults, and they stay. So yeah, great. And inside of this link, we want to display our icon. So we want to open up a angle bracket, and we want option dot icon. And this actually can be a self-closing tag. Great. We have some class names here. Not as long as the last one, thankfully. We have text-gray-300, group-hover. We want to have the text to be white, and we want the height to be 6, and the width to be 6. And finally, we want shrink 0. And then below that, we should be good to just do option.name and save that. And let's take a look. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So that's pretty much the styling done. And if we look at it, it should actually work, but not as intended, not as we want. So you see, we click analytics, we click notifications. So the first time you do this, it may be a little bit slow, but I promise in production, it's not slow like this. And after you've been through all the pages, it's not slow like that. So yeah, so this is the problem that I was talking about in the first part of the video. So we want to show, so we're on notifications now. We want this to be set to active. And, typically what we would do is we would do on click, but I want to show you the problem with using useState on this to set the buttons as active. So you can see here, I just have some simple logic here. We have a useState hookup here. We have set is active. And then down here on the actual component, or is it out down here? We have an on-click handler, and we set the is active to option.name. And so, yeah, so it does work. If we come through here, click on analytics, notifications, dashboard messages, notifications, dashboard. Yeah, everything looks great. So let's say we're on analytics, we refresh. And this is where we run into some problems. So we refreshed it. And of course, when we refresh, our analytics, our state goes away. So it's reset basically. So analytics isn't set to active. And that's where we need a new hook to come in. As you can see, as you use it again, it works. So this is more of like an edge case, definitely, but nonetheless, it solves a problem, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So that said, we come in here and let's just go ahead and first off, what I actually want to do is I want to show you. So earlier imported this useSelectedLayoutSegment hook. Let's just go ahead and use that. So let's do const segment is equal to useSelectedLayoutSegment, just like we would any other hook. Pretty normal standard stuff. First off, let's go ahead and come down here and let's just console.log segment and see what it gives us. So come up here, let's open up our DevTools. Console. We got null because and we get null because as I mentioned previously, the root here is going to return null. So since we're at the root level, and by root level, I mean /dashboard, there's nothing after /dashboard, it's going to return null. If we go to analytics, we get analytics back. If we go to notifications, we get notifications back. And if we go to messages, we get messages back. Back to dashboard, we get null. So pretty simple, straightforward. Let's use it in our app. So we come over here. Now this is where we're doing our state. We don't need our state anymore, actually. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's clear these out so they stop yelling at us. All right. So the syntax to use this is actually pretty simple. I'm going to start with analytics because for dashboard, we do have to do it a little bit differently since it does return null. Sorry. So to do this, we need to do slash, and then we're inside of backticks, and then we do, we escape that so we can put in segment. And we want to check if segment is equal to slash analytics. Then we want true, else we want false. Cool. Do the same thing down here. Backticks slash $ curly braces segment. If that is equal to slash notifications, we want true, else we want false. Great. Go down here to current, backticks, $ curly braces, segment. Outside of the backticks, we want, if that is equal to slash messages, then we want to return true, else we want false. All right. So as I mentioned, we need to do something a little bit differently up here for the dashboard since it returns null. So this might be a little bit different in your case. It'll vary on a case-by-case basis, but it's simple. All we need to do is if not segment, then we need to return true. Because theoretically, the only time that this should return null is when you are at the root directory of your layout. So in our case, slash dashboard. Pretty simple stuff. We can also get rid of this onClick handler. So now we don't need this onClick event anymore. We can get rid of that. We'll save up. Go back over to here. We also don't need to be console logging anymore. It's not that big of a deal. So now if we come over here, we refresh, we should see dashboard stays active despite the fact that we refreshed. Go to analytics. We go to notifications. We go to messages, and everything seems to be working well. Let's go to notifications. Let's refresh. And notification stays active despite the fact that we have refreshed. So yeah, it's just another way of working with server components and client components, making everything kind of work as they should. The state, what we just had previously with the useState, that's not terrible. I mean, the downside is that each time it gets reset to whatever else. I suppose another way that you could do it is you would set the state, the default state, to be equal to whatever the segment is when it first loads. That is another way you could do it. That might be a little bit better than this way, but yeah, I just thought I'd share this and kind of get it out there to you guys. But like I said, this is my first YouTube video. Just kind of wanted to keep it shorter, wanted to keep it a little bit more on the simple side. So it's not too much going on, but as you can see, it does work. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, like it, give me a comment. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know. If You know, if you want to see more, whatever else you want to see more, just let me know. I mean, I'm going to keep putting out content regardless, but yeah, thanks for watching, and I look forward to sharing more with you guys. See ya.